Hello Year 5, back with another maths video today, and it's the 11th of the 2nd, 21st, and today we are looking at subtraction and where you have to break the whole, and that is all where we have mixed numbers and you might have to take a fraction away from a mixed number, but we're going to go through some examples together. So I have some questions here that we're going to work through, and my first one is 2 4/8 take away 6/4, and I've got a picture here to help us, and I can see that I've got 1, 2 and 2 what is left over. What fraction of this last picture is shown to us? And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sections, so I know it's in quarters, and 2/4. Now, but our mixed number says 2 4/8, so can you see this first rectangle here has been split into 8 by simply putting a line through the middle to half them. So we're going to do that for the rest, our remaining pictures. So now you can see we've still got 2 holes. They didn't change. The size of the holes didn't change, but I've now split my second one into 8s as well. And we can see that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Imagining those were all even. I should have used a ruler. Imagining those were all even, we've got 4/8. So that is our mixed number there shown in pictures. Now what we're taking away is 6/4. Now can we do that if we've got 8s to start with and we're taking away quarters? We can't. We have to make sure the denominators are the same. So what we need to do now is our 6/4, we need to convert that into 8s. So pause the video now, have a go. What would 6/4 be in 8s? Or what is 6/4 equivalent to in 8s? And I'm going to use my multi-link cubes to help me show this one. So here are my quarters. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So each of these, and I know there's 2 multi-link cubes, but that is what you need to know, that a quarter gives you a bigger portion. So that's why I've got 2 multi-link cubes to represent my 6/4. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. As a mixed number, my 6/4 would actually be 1 2/4. Can you see that? But we need it in 8s. So how do you think we're going to work out it in 8s? What's the relationship between quarters and 8s, or 4 and 8? 4 is half of 8. So we now need to split all these pieces into 2. Instead of 2 multi-link cubes being a quarter, 1 is now an 8th. And so how many 8ths is the same as a quarter? And my answer is going to be 12, and we can check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I'll show that to you with our equivalent fractions up here. What we were doing is we worked out the relationship between quarters and 8ths, or 4 and 8. And we know that we do 4 times 2 to get 8. And whatever we're doing to the bottom, we need to do to the top. So 6 times 2 is 12. So 12/8. What's 12/8 as a mixed number? So I need to make a group of 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. So 12/8 as a mixed number is 1 4/8, or 1 1/2. Right. That was just to show you what we're doing with these, with converting fractions to add them up. And I wanted to show you with the multi-link cubes as well. Going back to our question. The question was taking away 6/4. We now know that that's actually asking us to take away 12/8. So now that we've put our picture into 8ths, we need to simply cross out or take away 12 of them. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And what are we left with? What's left after we take away 12/8? And the answer is 1 whole. Because there's only 1 hole left of our picture. And we can just write 1 in that box like that. How else could we say 1 whole? We could say it as 8/8 for this question. Or going back to our quarters, if you imagine that this line isn't here anymore, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can say 4 quarters or 8/8 or 1 whole. They are all equivalent, okay? Right, have a look at question B and have a go at what we might need to do to help us answer that question. So B, I can see I've got 2 5/6 take away 7/3. Now again, my pictures are represented as sixths because each hole, each rectangle has 6 squares in each, or 6 rectangles even. So these pictures represent 2 5/6. But what are we taking away? 7/3. 7/3. So let's write our 7/3 out here. Right. And if I had 7/3, I've got my 7/3 here, represented like that. Now, if we're dealing with 2 5/6, what do we need to do to our 7/3 to take it away from that mixed number? We need to convert it into sixths. So pause the video and convert it yourself, or carry on with me and I'll show you with the multi-link cubes. So I've got my 7/3. Remember, third is a bigger portion than a sixth, so that's why we've got 2 multi-link cubes to represent one of our thirds. So again, the relationship between thirds and sixths, we know that 6 is double 3. So we know we do 3 times 2 to get 6. And how we represent that is you're going to get double the amount of pieces. So we need to half our thirds to tell us what that is in sixths. Instead of my big third, which is a bigger portion, I've now just got a sixth, which is a smaller portion of, or smaller fraction. So now, how many sixths have I got? And that's right, it's going to be 14, because 3 times 2 is 6, and 7 times 2 is 14. 14 sixths. So what we're actually taking away is 14 sixths. So 14 of our question here, because these are already split into 6. I need to take away 14. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And what fraction is left? What is 2 5/6 take away 14 sixths? And the answer is I've got 1, 2, 3, 3 sixths, otherwise known as a half, like that. Does that make sense? Okay, we're going to move on to our next questions now. And this question is showing you step 1 of the mixed number that you're starting with, and then it's taking away a fraction or a portion of that mixed number, and you have to choose the correct calculation underneath. Pause the video, have a go yourselves. What's happening here? What fraction are we taking away? And then join back in when you're ready to hear the answer. So, looking at step 1, I can see I've got 1 whole, 2 wholes, and what fraction left over? There's 3 in total and 2 are shaded. So my mixed number is 2 and 2/3, just like that. So that's my mixed number in step 1. And then what has been taken away in step 2? And you can see that this has been converted or changed into sixths, hasn't it? You've got double the amount of pieces in this hole than you do in this one. But they are equivalent because the holes have stayed the same size. So they are equivalent. So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 crossed out. 8 what crossed out? 8 sixths, that's right. So how can we see a fraction that shows me 2 and 2/3 take away 8 sixths? And I can see it right here. So that is all you were doing for that question, is seeing what mixed number did you have here, what did they take away, and that tells me that that calculation matches the pictures that were shown to us there. We'll do the last section and then you can have a go at the worksheet today. And I've got no pictures this time, but I think we're a little bit more confident now about what it means when we're breaking the whole or we're taking some away. It's a fraction away from the whole. So I've got 3 2/5 and 13/10. And here I've got my 3 wholes and my 2/5. Now, the question then said I'm going to take away 13/10. So what do I need to do first is I need to convert the other way. So what I need to do now, I can't put my 13/10 into fifths because I've got 13 as a numerator and I know that that's not in the 5 times tables. But what I can do is convert my 3 2/5 into tenths. So here are my fifths, and again, fifth is a bigger fraction than a tenth. But like we've done with our questions before, what is the relationship between 5 and 10? It is 10 is double 5, isn't it? Or times 2. So what I can imagine is my fifths, if I halved all my fifths, I would get 2 tenths. So 1/5 is 2 tenths. So what is 3 2/5 as an in tenths? Sorry. What is 3 2/5 in tenths? So I know that I'm still going to have 3 wholes. That stays the same because you can see my 3 wholes here. They've not changed. But if I imagine I half or break apart each of my fifths and create 2 tenths, what fraction is actually left over now down here? It's not 2/5 anymore. It will be 1, 2, 3, 4 tenths. So those are equivalent. And now we can go back to our question, which said 13 tenths. Let's take away 13 tenths. So got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I just need one of these. Take away 1 to get that's my 13 tenths taken away that you can see in our question here. What do I have left? What fraction do I have left? Or what mixed number do I have left? I've still got my 2 wholes and what fraction is this? 1/10. So this one is an answer of 2 1/10. And our question is actually, one of these calculations has a whole number answer, true or false. So that is not a whole number answer because we've got a fraction left over. It is a mixed number because it's 2 1/10. So it's not that one. But it is a true or false. We still need to work out this question to know if we've got the right answer. Our last question is 7 3/4 take away 12/8. So can we convert our 12/8 into quarters? And the answer is yes, because we've still got that relationship of 4 being half of 8, or 8 being double 4. So what we're thinking is numbers are getting smaller, so we're dividing now. But 8 divided by 2 is 4. So 12 divided by 2 is going to leave us with 6/4. So 12/8 is equivalent to 6/4. Now, going back to our whole number, 7 3/4. What are we going to be left with if we take away 6/4? Let's count back in our quarters. So starting at 7 3/4, I'm going to take away a quarter, and I'm going to have 7 1/2, or 7 2/4. Then I'm going to have 7 1/4. 7, because if I take away that quarter, I'm going to have a whole number. And then that's going to be what? 6 3/4. 6 6.5 or 6 2/4, 6.25. Right, we were taking away 6. So let's just check. I've taken away 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4. And we worked out that 12/8 is equivalent to 6/4, which means we are ending on 6.25. So, true or false? Do either of those calculations end in a whole number answer? And the answer is false. They are both mixed numbers because they both have a fraction left over. Have a go at today's worksheet, all about taking away fractions from mixed numbers. And I really hope this video helps you.